see mega construction companies. We are in our land building roads every blessed day. Go and ask anybody. MCC, Gufanti, and Fujiro. Go and ask people who are as old as I am. They'll remember it. Ask yourself, why is Aba as dirty as it is today? I go before you think about go outside and look at your lives. Is Donald Trump from Eastern Afaruku? But you people are queuing to travel to the USA for a better life. Is Theresa May from our... Wonderful people, great Biafrans all over the world, wherever you are, we are welcoming you to another live address on this very day. Today is the 19th day of July in the year of our Most High Elohim 2019, with the time now standing at, should I say, precisely 7 p.m. in the holy land of Biafra. I welcome each and every one of you, regardless of where you are domiciled around the world. If this is your first time of joining Radio Biafra, I welcome you especially, and as I do so, I will indulge you to also welcome those of your friends, your relatives, and your family who you think might be able to benefit from this very redeeming gospel this very evening. I say good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and good night to some of you, depending on where you are residing, depending on where you are domiciled across the entire 24 time zones of this very world, where I believe very confidently that Radio Biafra is being received at this precise moment. Without further hesitation, we must proceed. My name is Nnamdi Kanu. I am the leader of the indigenous people of Biafra, and by the grace of the Most High Elohim, the servant of the wonderful people of Biafra. Our job is to restore Biafra. Our mission is to enthrone justice and fairness, and we are not going to fail, not because we possess any extraordinary powers that are not gifted to other men, but because we are under divine instruction, we are under celestial supervision, and that is why Biafra will be restored in our time and in this very moment. Therefore, we must pray. We must dedicate our proceedings this very evening to the Most High, Chukwokika Biama Purimine, because without Chukwokika Biama we are nothing. We couldn't be where we are today, and there is no way we would have withstood and overcome all the shenanigans of the enemies
even those within. We must pray. Wherever you are, you will lower your heads, because we worship the one true living Elohim, the Most High, Chukwukika Biama, our Lord and our God and our Redeemer. We do not worship idol. We do not worship anything made by man or born by flesh. We must worship the Most High in truth and in spirit. We must proceed, and this evening I will pray in English, because we know that our audience are gathering all over the world. Some people plead and beg that they wish to partake in the blessing emanating from Radio Biafra. Anytime we are privileged to address the wonderful people of Biafra, it is a unique honor to welcome each and every one of you. We are on satellite, we are online, we are on FM, and we are on Facebook precisely. If you look for us, you will find us. This is where we propagate this very gospel, where the truth is not only spoken, but preached on a daily basis. That is why Elohim is with us, and that is why our enemies are floundering from place to place. They cannot replicate what we are doing, because sometimes we don't even know what we are doing. We are being directed all the way from heaven, and that is why we are unstoppable. That is why Ruga will not take hold nor function. That is why the disintegration of the damnable zoological republic is inescapable. They cannot escape it. Therefore we pray, God of ages, the ancient of days, praised be your holy name forever. In your sight, from generation to generation, from time immemorial, nations rise and fall. We are passing through a time of peril. Now our land is troubled. Enemies from far barren and arid lands of the north have descended upon your children like a dark cloud from the deepest recesses of hell. Be near also, Lord, to judge and to save. Strengthen our resolve. Strengthen IPOB to give witness to these truths by the way that we live. May we, your servants in Biafra, be led by your wisdom. May we search your will and see it clearly. If we have turned from your way, which we know we have, please have mercy upon us and help us to reverse our path and to repent. Give the leader of all oppressed ethnic nationalities in Nigeria the wisdom to recognize the evil that is confronting us all. Give them the grace to know what is right and the courage to do that can save all of us. You have said that blessed is the nation whose God is the Lord. Biafra is your nation, O Lord. You created it and not man. You are our God, for we do not worship man nor idol. This proclamation we make this very day and always, as our forefathers did before us, as they did before the British came. Give us your light and your truth to guide us through your mercy as our Lord and as our Savior. Because you remain forever, you do not change, so shall your creation, Biafra, endure. May this be a new era for Biafra and all those who are struggling under the yoke of oppression in Nigeria. As we humble ourselves and acknowledge you as the author and finisher of our faith, this we pray in your holy name. Chukwukika Biama Purumi Henine now and forevermore. He said, He said, we must proceed. We are live and we are direct. And the whole world, the entirety of humanity is listening. We have been working tirelessly hard to ensure that we mobilize our people against the hordes of wickedness from the north. They will never prevail. The gates of hell can never ever prevail over the children of light. For we are descended from heaven itself, and there is nothing any mortal man can do to extinguish this very light of hope. We have come that the blind may see. We have come that even those who cannot speak may rise up and find a voice. We have come to break the chains of bondage. That is what we represent. That is what we have been mandated to do. And that is a mission we are going to accomplish in our time. This evening I bring to you a very special program dedicated, I will say, to those of you in possession of common sense, because common sense in the damnable zoological republic is in very short supply. Therefore, we must do the needful. Therefore, we must do that which is right, which is to preach this very gospel without compromise or fear, without any favors whatsoever, that Chukwukika Biama may love us. A very simple question unraveled the hopelessness and the crass stupidity of the entire judicial structure in the zoo. Only one simple question, and the zoo fell apart. That question we shall revisit this very evening, and the consequences that flew from it. Because we have been saying this from time immemorial, that Nigeria is not only a hopeless case, but it is irredeemable. The sooner they allow us to live in peace, the better, or else the scenario of Somalia is, and nobody can escape it. Everything we proclaim here comes to pass. The same thing I said about Britain, that Britain doesn't know what is bothering it. Britain is not aware of the calamity that is about to befall it, and the reason why. The reason is Biafra. Perhaps they may be too arrogant to acknowledge it. But because of Biafra, Chukwukika Biama would decimate Britain. Mark my words, and is it not happening today? The same way that I say to you that the fate of Nigeria will be worse than that of Somalia, unless they allow us to go. They do not have any choice anyway, because in the end, Biafra is going to be free. This evening I start this very program by making reference, which I shall of course play the clips for you later on as we proceed. It's about a particular man, a man by all intent and purposes should be a Panwine Tapa. But unfortunately, because he was born in the north, bereft of any decent nor proper education, he smuggled his way into the Sharia system of justice by virtue of his Wahhabi fundamentalist Islamic disposition. Sometimes I don't want to be too grammatical on Radio Biafra because our mothers are listening, our grandmothers are listening in our villages. I want to come across in a manner that this very message can be conveyed to the grassroots without the need for interpretation. So sometimes if I tend to dumb down my English, it is to try, or should I say grammar, it is to try and aid the transmission of this very message to those that need it most. You must please excuse me. The zoo called Nigeria is at a precipice. It is crumbling and collapsing on a daily basis. And the reason why it is collapsing is because mediocrity and evil is at the helm of affairs. No other episode properly encapsulates the dire state of Nigeria than the so-called shambolic Senate confirmation of Muhammad Tanko, the new Chief Justice of Nigeria. Anybody who endured that very program as it was screened live across a plethora of channels, you will know that it is cringe-worthy. That is how sad it is. You will begin to feel ashamed of yourself for having to watch such a very wretched and pathetic display from somebody they claim should be at the helm of the entire judicial structure in Nigeria. Anybody that complained or had any word to say against President Donald Trump because he referred to some states in Africa, especially Nigeria, as a shithole, after watching this very video, you will go and apologize to Donald Trump. You will know that he was being too kind to Nigeria. Abaribe is a very clever man. After all, it takes a very clever man to stand up and defend the rights of his people, which is what he has done in the past, he is doing now, and will continue to do. This was what started the whole debacle and what should rightly lead to the disqualification of Muhammad Tanko as the newly confirmed CJN of the damnable Zoological Republic. This was Abaribe's question, and I quote, "In the 2018 case of Akredolu versus Abraham, the Supreme Court said, technicality in the administration of justice shuts out justice, and went further to say, it is therefore better to have a case heard and determined on its merit than to leave the court with the shield of victory obtained on mere technicality." I continue. This is the Supreme Court, so we are happy with that. But my lord, mind you, Abaribe called I wouldn't say illiterate, but I would say poorly educated Muhammad Tanko a lord. I don't hear people complaining. Everybody referred to him as a lord. He called him a lord. Nobody is complaining. Abaribe said, "My lord, just a few weeks ago, the Supreme Court also said the correct order is to declare the judgment of the trial tribunal a nullity." As one of the panelists not sitting on the day of the proceedings were held, this is the case of Osun State governorship election. That was what caused all of this. What is playing out here is that there is something called precedent-in-law. There is something also called, should I call it rules of engagement? Or should I call it ethics or code of conduct? Something that the administration of justice and law itself is predicated upon. They are irreducible. And everything is very simple, as we shall demonstrate later on. Always citing and making reference to previous cases and how the judgment went. Precedent. You find precedent always playing a key part or role in common law, not civil law, but common law, which the zoo called Nigeria practices. But you will begin to find out this evening that even the Supreme Court of Nigeria do not obey their own precedent. One Supreme Court judgment will come in total contradiction of what another Supreme Court session said. Unbelievable. And the legislators that should be clearing up all this mess, this what I call judicial maze,
when there are conflicting interpretations of the law by the apex court. They are impotent, they are weak, they are useless, as we shall demonstrate this very evening. And Abaribe continued to say, and so Nigerians are really worried. Where would the Supreme Court stand under you? Where would justice be, and what can we expect from the Supreme Court under you? In his convoluted response, Muhammad Tanko, the Fulani Sharia now confirmed Chief Justice, he was a Fulani magistrate. I said magistrate. Sharia law magistrate. You don't have to go to school. You just go to a Quranic school, an Islamic evening class. And out of your zealousness for Islam, you could be appointed a Sharia magistrate or a Sharia judge, as the case may be. That was how he climbed to become the Chief Justice of Nigeria. Sharia law, Sharia, yes. We must proceed. In his convoluted response, Tanko defined a technicality, because Abaribe was making reference to technicality. The reason why Adeleke did not win was because the judge or somebody sat to read the judgment that didn't sit during the trial, or vice versa. We shall get to the details later. Because of that, they said Adeleke did not win anymore. They gave it to APC based on technicality. And they're asking him, what are the remedial steps you're going to take to ensure that this type of technicality fades into insignificance when a very monumental case is under consideration, such as the Osun State governorship election? And then Tanko defined technicality as something technical and went ahead to compare technicality with the inability of a judge such as himself to effectively drive an aeroplane. You know what they call legal technicality? It is very simple. Legal technicality exists to serve one purpose: to make sure that both the government, all legal practitioners, follow set down rules and procedure. It's as simple as that. When the law says that if you arrest somebody, you must arraign them before a magistrate within 48 hours, and you don't, regardless of the gravity of that very offense or crime, that person should be set free because you have broken the law. Not minding the offense he or she may have committed. For having broken a statute, a law recognized in the Constitution, it counts as technicality because the substance of the matter or the criminality is no longer under consideration. What they are now talking about is the circumstances surrounding that very case. That is what technicality is. Very simple. A child knows it, but do you know that the Chief Justice of Nigeria, newly confirmed, does not know this? He said it is like driving an aeroplane, that he's not qualified, he's not a pilot. Why should he go and drive an aeroplane since he's not qualified? I asked him about technicality. In a law, he's talking about aeroplane flying up in the sky. He is Fulani, and he is your new Chief Justice of Nigeria. And there are learned people. There are learned judges that could have occupied that very position, but due to the despotic nature of the zoo called Nigeria, it must be Fulani man. It must be. Onogan was removed. It must be Fulani, because Buhari, before he died, came with this very agenda of Fulanization of jihad. It doesn't matter what you say. Every arm of government must be occupied by a Fulani. And some of you indulged them. Now they feel emboldened and empowered. They can do whatever they like, up to bringing somebody who in my village is not qualified to be a Panwine Tapa. But today he's the Chief Justice of the zoo. That's his reply on technicality of law that everybody knows. He doesn't know it. The Chief Justice. Tomorrow they say, my Lord, he's in the Supreme Court, my Lord. Muhammad Tanko. He's an elite. An elite. He is, people or human beings are not meant or supposed to know everything. I agree. But when you have put yourself forward to be considered for a very lofty position as that of a Chief Justice, and you don't even know what the job entails, you don't know what the whole Nigerian jurisprudence is all about, you wrap all this nonsense. I mean, those that write his speeches for him. Because how you catch Nigeria's so-called fake elite is thrust a microphone in front of them and begin to ask them questions without the benefit of their notes prepared for them by those who are actually educated. You see them floundering all over the place. That's what just happened. He's a Chief Justice of Nigeria. And tomorrow to be swept under the carpet because Tinubu wants to be president. So it doesn't matter. This is not important. But some of you do not know the implication of this very matter. It means that Nigeria is now effectively under a Sharia legal system. If you do not know, it is in your constitution. A Sharia judge can sit at the appeal court without the benefit of proper education, without the benefit of understanding what common law is all about. Because for you to understand common law, which the British gave to Nigeria, that they created, you must, of course, study English law. You must understand English language. You must understand how English common law actually works. How can you bring somebody from a Sharia disposition and bring him to superintend over British common law that he doesn't understand? Now you see the problem with the zoo. All these internal contradictions is the reason why I keep saying that there is something fundamentally wrong with the brain of we black Africans. That something must be wrong somewhere. Why would you put a square peg into a round hole because it will never fit? Never ever fit. Why appoint a Sharia magistrate to become the Chief Justice of a country that operates a different legal system by the 12 states of the North? Do you see what these Fulanis are doing? Only 12 states of the North. But they must impose it. They impose Sharia on everybody. They are now imposing Sharia on your legal system. And tomorrow some people will say, oh, we don't want to fight war. Who is talking about war? It's about justice, fairness, and of course freedom for the rest. That's what we're fighting for. We know some will come and go, but IPOB shall remain until victory is assured. We will liberate them, they shouldn't worry. But capitulating under Fulani pressure, not even up to 48 hours, is just doesn't speak well of these people and their leadership qualities. That is not how to lead the people. But we must continue. Tanko defined technicality as trying to drive an aeroplane. He's not qualified, so he's not technical. You know, anything to do with technology is technical. That's the way they say it. And because of that, because there is the word technicality is derived from technical, so to speak. Because of that, he lost every sense of what technicality is all about and dwelt on technical, telling he cannot fly an aeroplane. Chief Justice of Nigeria. There you go. Now, let me tell you what this Tanko said, so you understand it very well, and the implication what he uttered has for people. Like ourselves, because he made reference to me, which of course is sub judice. Sub judice means you don't talk about a live case in public. The same thing that Buhari did before he died during his interview. December 31st, 2015? Saying that I will be in jail is exactly what this man did. And he knows that based on his utterances in the Senate, the case is dead because it's sub judice. But he doesn't know. How can he know what sub judice is? He's coming from Sharia now. How can he know? He's a Sharia magistrate. These are the dangers of Abdul Salami Abubakar's 1999 constitution. When we campaigned against it, people didn't quite understand the meaning of it. Because we are black African people, we don't know that laws can affect our lives. But the chickens have now come home to roost. We shall see. This is what Tanko said. Now, this is Tanko. I'm not, he wasn't as fluid as this. I will play the clip for you later on so you understand it.
Now, if something which is technical comes before the court, if something which is technical comes, not technicality, if something which is technical comes before the court, what we do in trial court is to ask people who are experts in that field to come and testify. We rely on their testimony because they are experts in that very field. Oh, goodness me. Do you know that this mad Sharia judge doesn't know that technicality is different from calling an expert witness? Again, you know, calling an expert witness, when somebody feigns insanity and doesn't want to stand trial, you go and call a psychiatrist or a psychologist or whoever in the medical field that is appropriate to come and testify if that person can stand trial or not. That is an expert witness. Or when there is a problem, be it with ballistics or in a crime scene, you call an expert to explain the trajectory of a bullet. Should that very fact be contested in a murder case, where the murder weapon is a gun or a rifle? That is an expert witness. This man doesn't know the difference between an expert witness and technicality in law. And he is the Chief Justice of Nigeria. And you have people who are senior advocates. It is unbelievable. It is unbelievable. I'm going to tell the whole world about this. Not just tonight. We are going to write to every judicial formation around the world, in every nation, to draw the attention to what Nigeria have just done. It defies logic. This is a whole Chief Justice of a Federation. He does not know the meaning of technicality in law and an expert witness called by whoever to testify before a court. What sort of planet do these retards actually occupy? Both those who are in the Senate, of course, apart from Aparibe, the rest of the baboons questioning him. What? I can't understand these people. And they're saying, my Lord, my Lord. The idiot is not making any sense. But he's their Lord, because he's Fulani, and they control CBN, they control all the money, they control the contracts, they control the army, they control the police, they control fire brigade even. So they decide who lives and who dies. Can you now see where Binta Inyako got her impetus to mention Sharia in her court? Do you see it? The Sharia magistrate somehow made it all the way to become the Chief Justice of Nigeria. Onogen, who is a Christian from the south, was kicked out. Some dirty pigs made noise as to what would happen if Onogen were to be sacked. Onogen was eventually sacked, and nothing happened. Those of you in the southern part of the zoo called Nigeria, you carried on as if nothing happened. And I always identify this problem. The problem that we are having is the Muslim half of the Yoruba population, because they have split loyalty. They don't know if it's to obey the Sultan in Sokoto or to do that which is right, which is to rebel against their Fulani masters. This man disgraced Nigeria and its entire legal profession. He went on to say, ask me anything about aeroplane. I don't know. Ask me to drive an aeroplane. It's unbelievable. As somebody quite rightly noted, who would want to be a passenger in an aeroplane being piloted by Mohammed Tanko? Who would be mad to enter such an aeroplane? He said, this is Muhammad Ibrahim Tanko. I am sure he will get out of the plane because it is something that requires technicality. Now plane has technicality. No longer technical, but technicality. Do you see how he's somersaulting? Because he doesn't know what to do. You know, when you're answering a question, in fact, he didn't prepare for it. But of course, somebody is an old boy. He went to Government College Umuahia. I think the finest secondary school there was in those days. The finest in the whole world, I tell you that. Government College Umuahia had a very fine. Fisher High School, it was called before they christened it Government College Umuahia. Very, very good. He was there. as an old boy. One simple question, and the entire edifice, the corrupt judicial edifice in the zoo has come to the floor. And tomorrow, some Yoruba media houses will say, hey, it doesn't matter, let's move on, because they want Tinubu to be president in 2023. I am sure you will get out of the plane, according to your new CJN, for those of you in the zoo. It has technicality. The plane now has technicality, not the law. But the law before had technical. The plane has technicality. Whereas the question was technicality in law. Also, you see everything upside down, like the zoo is. And they want Nigeria. Mad lunatics everywhere. This is disgraceful. Some people call it a travesty, but I don't think it is that. It shows the world that we Africans are baboons indeed. We are animals. I'm telling you, we are useless. Maybe we are 1 or 2 chromosomes short of a complete human being, I'm telling you. All of you campaigning and crying, oh, we are equal to the white people, equality, you're talking rubbish. You continue to behave like animals every blessed day, and you want to be regarded as a human being. You are joking. You are deluded. It can never happen. You brought somebody whose education is not higher than that of a calibus monkey. You brought him to be your Chief Justice of Nigeria, and you want the world to respect you. You want America to give you visa. You want to be treated as a human being. Of course not. You have shown that you're a fool. The zoo is doomed. Chief Justice. In aeroplane is technicality. In the court of law is technical. Unbelievable. Now let me, as a layman, educate Tanko. I didn't go to law school. Chineke Nnama, I did as an elective when I was in university in England. The very basic mundane law, that is. But I want to educate Tanko as to what technicality in law means. And I will use case authorities in the zoo, coming from their own Supreme Court, to highlight not only their inconsistencies in the interpretation of their own laws, but their stupidity. I can tell you tonight that we black people, we are not mentally developed enough to practice law, written down law. I'm telling you the truth, we are not. We should stop pretending we can, because we cannot. We do not obey the laws that we have written. So why are you wasting your time writing laws that you know you cannot obey? Now you understand what we're fighting for, Biafra. To come away from this disgraceful existence in the zoo, and wider Africa, I hasten to add, to come away from this nonsense, this damnable zoological republic. Come away from, that's what we're doing. I start from a case. That is one Osareren versus Osareren, I think, I don't want to get it wrong, I think it's a Benin name, versus Federal Republic of Nigeria, 2018. You will go there, it is there. It's at the Supreme Court. And this is what they said. Now, I want to begin to show you how useless Nigeria is, even the Supreme Court. I want to prove to you that all those people you see there, Chief Justice, Chief Judge, Judge of the Appellate Court, all these people are back. They know their brains are empty. I want to prove it to you from their own judgment that they made in their own court of law. Technicality, these are going to the Supreme Court. Technicality in a matter could arise if a party is relying on abstract or inordinate legalism. And ask you to sugar. Now they to a carry manango. They want to copy all this, not that they came from their brain, they copy, they go to law, to case law, and they recite and they copy for 6 months and they deliver judgment. And so you take away that thing they wrote. Ask them to deliver the judgment, they cannot say a word, not one sentence, because they know not what they are saying. Technicality, according to the Supreme Court of the Zoo, in a matter could arise if a party is relying on abstract or inordinate legalism to becloud or drown the merits of a case. In other words, it arises when a party relies on or holds tenaciously onto the rules of court with little or no regard to the justice of the matter. As far as such a party is concerned, the rules must be followed to the last sentence, the last word, and the last letter. The party emphasizing technicality has little or no regard to the justice that could be sacrificed or the injustice that would be caused to the opponent. Oh, dear me. What a whole Supreme Court is saying is that the Constitution of Nigeria is useless by this very pronouncement. Do you know why? And I will tell you. Technicality is when people rely on the legality of a particular case to argue in their own favor. And I'll give you a very simple example. The law says that if the prosecutor does not come to court, is it 3 or 5 times or whatever, the case will be struck off. You've been detaining somebody for very many years. You accuse them of a crime. Now, what I want to prove to people is that the entire mindset of the Nigerian judiciary, of their jurisprudence, is actually civil law and not common law. Where there is, once you've been arrested by the police, there is a presumption that you're guilty until you prove yourself innocent. Whereas in common law, is presumption of innocence before being found guilty. That is why a whole Supreme Court, Supreme, I said Supreme Court, the highest, they said that people cannot rely on what is it called again, technicality, to drown the merits of a case. You have not convicted that person. So you, the judge, how are you sure that the case has merit? We are just asking. So that the police brought somebody before your court doesn't mean the person is guilty. By saying this, you're saying that people should not rely on the... What is technicality, by the way? It is that unseen hand. I call it the rule of engagement or legal ethics. It's the same way that the gravity works around the world. Who can see gravity? Cannot see it, but it is what keeps the earth and other planetary bodies revolving or rotating around the sun. Without that very gravity exerted by the sun, we will fly off into deep space, never to return, and everything will die. For human beings to be alive on this very earth, there is a force at work which you cannot see. It's called gravity, exerted by the sun. The same way the earth has gravitational pull on the moon to lock the moon in place. Without that very basic natural law and order, everything will be chaotic. You see how Elohim made the world? The same thing happens in law and with every other aspect of life. If you come to chemistry, to mathematics, to physics, everything obeys a natural, there is a law governing it. Go and study Pythagoras, the great mathematicians. There's always a law governing everything in life. As night follows day, there must be a law. Imagine waking up one morning and the whole earth is reversed. Everybody will go crazy. There is no more night or no more day. What will you do? You will go mad, won't you? What the Supreme Court, I don't know if we have time. I don't want people to be tired. I don't want people to get tired and start complaining about data. Go on. Do you understand how the law works, even in nature? If you go and disrupt gravity, you introduce chaos. If you go and do away with technicality, what is technicality? Doesn't come from thin air. Technicality comes as a result of laws or statutes you have already made. It was your constitution that said, the Constitution of Nigeria says, I said the highest law in the land says, if you arrest somebody, you abduct them, you kidnap them, as DSS does all the time, and you detain them for over 3 months, for over 90 days, without taking them to court, they qualify for bail automatically. That is what the Constitution says. It said nothing about discretion. The discretionary provision came as a result of an act of Parliament. Should I say the National Assembly of the Zoo? And the same Constitution says that any laws made by the National Assembly of Nigeria that is in conflict with any part of this Constitution, that law is null and void. This law is their own law. It's in the Constitution. Go and read it very well.
They are saying you cannot introduce technique. In other words, if I'm arrested wrongly or wrongfully as they did to me and many other Biafrans who are languishing in jail and DSS custody, the law says we ought to be released after 3 months without trial. You're holding on to them. When we come to court, you say, no, I have the discretion. Supreme Court said there's something wrong with technicality. We must hold. But Mr. George or Mrs. George, how are you sure I'm actually guilty of the crime that I'm being held for without trial? How do you know? Even what did you? In Abafa, do you conjure up? Are you, how do they put it? Do you see into the future? Or as that film that, what's his name again? The guy that did Top Gun. What's his name again?
Willis.
No, not Bruce Willis. What's his name? I don't know what is happening to me. He's said my name. What's his name now? The very good, very fine actor that did Mission Impossible too. He did a film called Minority Report. I think it's Tom Cruise, actually. It's Tom Cruise. Everyone should go and watch that very movie. It's very, very instructive. Go and watch it. It's called Minority Report. In that Minority Report, they use juju, what they call it, no mudibia, so to speak. Fortune tellers to tell you who is guilty. In fact, to tell you about the crime that will happen in the future. Until it happened to one of them. Now they knew that the whole program was faulty. Go and watch it. I suggest that every judge in Nigeria should go and watch Tom Cruise's Minority Report. It's a movie. Go and watch it. Maybe, who knows? They will not even learn. Because after watching it, they'll go and watch another crappy Nollywood movie and forget all about it. As I said, technicality is an unwritten code. It stops everybody from misbehaving and actually going against the law. You arrested somebody on a speeding offense, and you come to court and you change it to how can I put it, to reckless endangerment. And they are contesting it to say, this is not the original crime for which you charge me for, and you have no evidence. You're saying, it's a technicality, I won't entertain it. Are you shocked that this was what Buhari did before he died? In my case, Ademola gave me bail. Shuaibu gave me bail. He said no, because in his mind, the charge of treasonable felony means you must have done something wrong, without proof, without evidence. That is Nigeria for you. Very hopeless. And why we black people we are not well, to be honest with you. In the church, we are not, honestly, we are not complete. Our brain is not complete. This very Supreme Court ruling was what Aberibo was referring to say to Tanko, you people said nobody should rely on technicality. But how come in the case of Adeleke, Oshun gubernatorial election, you people are now relying on technicality to give it to APC? Start talking rubbish. We must continue. He veered off into, that is Alice in Wonderland. Does he have a driving license? I'm not sure he does. Talk less of driving an aeroplane. The same Supreme Court also said, in Federal Government of Nigeria, FRN versus Dairo in 2015, rules of court are meant to be obeyed. Are you listening? Rules of court are meant to be obeyed. But in the previous one, Supreme Court said it shouldn't be obeyed. Another one, they said it should be obeyed. These are learned men and wig, silk. They call them learned silk. Blue coat, practice. You can see them now. Supreme Court judge. One judgment says technicality should be disregarded. Another one saying you must obey it. And another one went on to say that obedience to rules must not be slavish to the point that justice in a case is destroyed or thrown overboard. What do you mean by that? Obedience to the rules. The rule, they call it rule, but what they meant to say is the Constitution. Nigeria does not operate the common law system. What they're saying is that what the Constitution says, that if you don't present any compelling evidence to justify the detention of somebody or their conviction, they should be. No, they're saying no. The fact you have been charged with murder means you must have done it. That's what it means now.
Therefore, they said, if in the course of doing justice some harm is done to some procedural rule which cuts the rule, the court should be happy that it took such a line of action. In other words, if the court disobeys its own laws, everybody should be happy. As long as the person they claim is the accused is in detention. This is a Supreme Court in a country. Oh, so there you have it. Malam Justice Tanko, technicality simply means anything that prevents a court from deciding a case on its merit. Oh dear Lord, more often than not, it is some rule of court such as missing filing deadlines. The law says you must file 3 days after this, or you must disclose all the documents you have to the defense team, and you failed to do it. And you come to court as a defense attorney and you're saying to them, you failed to obey the rules, therefore I am asking for this case to be struck off. The judge will say, no, I won't strike it off because the charge is so heinous, it is not bailable. But come on, the rule says that you must furnish them with the information within a specified or specific period of time. Let me tell you what happens if you don't do it. Technicality is there to hold everybody in check, as gravity does to every heavenly body that you see around you. Because without technicality, people, if you can detain somebody forever now. And say, oh, well, my Lord, we don't have the time to file any papers. We don't know, we've missed the file. You can detain somebody forever now. If there is no technicality, you will detain people forever and ever. That is the meaning of it. And that is not justice, is it? But they don't, these are black people. They don't know. Nobody should blame us sometimes. We just don't know. Our brains are not developed to comprehend the complexities of law. Now let us look at the dictionary definition of technicality. According to Merriam-Webster Dictionary, defines it simply as a small detail in the rule of law, and especially one that forces an unwanted and unexpected result. The fact that you don't want it is unexpected doesn't mean that it is not valid. It's as simple as that. It is valid, of course it is. Very, very valid. It has absolutely nothing to do with the knowledge of technology, as Tanko was trying to imply, or as he explicitly implied. It is about driving an aeroplane. It's technical. Will you come to join me in an aeroplane? A chief judge, or should I say chief justice of a nation? And tomorrow he will be there. Like they are transmitting confusion. The edge of he's full and nobody can touch him. For all we know, they can bring a wheelbarrow pusher, a truck pusher, and make him say, nobody, nothing. As long as Tinubu wants to be president, Yorubas, not all of them, some of them will comply. Especially Yoruba Muslims, of course, which is one. Let's continue. Technicality is a point of law by a small detail of a set of rules as contrasted with the intent or purpose of rules. Simple. You have brought somebody to court, you want to kill them, you want to jail them. And they are saying that there are some things you didn't do right, because if everybody keeps doing whatever they want, the court cannot function. The legal system will collapse. That is what technicality is all about. To ensure that the legal system does not collapse. It doesn't mean flying an aeroplane. Oh dear. In the zoo. Maybe having special and unusually practical knowledge, especially of a mechanical or scientific subject, has made the zoo to have a Fulani illiterate as their chief justice. A stark illiterate. Maybe it's about time we delved into what actually transpired for the world to know that I'm not making anything up. Imonara has no propaganda. That IPOB is involved in propaganda. We want to tell the whole world that we are not involved in propaganda. That what we are saying is actually the truth. And we are going to play you a small clip, a very tiny clip as to what actually transpired. So you can all make up your minds as to what is actually going on in the zoo. What the whole nonsense is all about in the zoo. Because it is simply unbelievable. Absolutely unbelievable what people are prepared to put up with. inside the place you call Nigeria. It is unbelievable what they are prepared to put up with. Absolutely unbelievable. We must proceed. I will play it for you so you will see it for yourself. What is actually happening inside the zoo. How technicality. Let's hear this.
My Lord, the Senate President has restricted us to 2 questions, but I will just take one question, very small one, and then an advice. My question is on the philosophy of the Supreme Court. My Lord, in 2018, Akeredolu versus Abraham, I can quote the Supreme Court, if you permit me. The Supreme Court said, technicality in the administration of justice shuts out justice, and went further to say that it is therefore better to have a case heard and determined on its merits than to leave the court with the shield of victory obtained on mere technicality. This Supreme Court. So we're very happy with that. But my Lord, just a few weeks ago, the Supreme Court also said, and I quote, the correct order to make is to declare the judgment of the trial tribunal a nullity as a result of one of the panelists not sitting on a day proceedings were held. And so Nigerians are really worried. Where would this Supreme Court be situated? We would like to know from you, under you, where justice will be. Not where justice will be, what we can expect from the Supreme Court under you. The second part, my Lord, is an advice. The country is in very serious trouble, and we all know. And we see the court as the institution that will help us to be able to navigate out of the difficulties we are in today. And so, my advice, my Lord, is that this Supreme Court under you must continue to put Nigeria before any other thing, so that we can have a country. Because if we don't have a country, there will be no Senate, there will be no Supreme Court, there will be nothing except a Somalia situation, and we don't want that. Thank you, my Lord.
A question by
This is Tanko.
distinguished Senator Baribi. The centers on the technicalities. Given a leeway for double interpretation. It may be interpreted this way by Mr. A, or it may be interpreted this way by Mr. B. Now, if something is technical, comes before the law,
Oh dear.
or before the courts,
Something technical before the court.
what we normally do at the trial court is we ask people who are expert in that field to come and testify. We rely on their testimony because they are experts in that field. Ask me anything on aeroplane. I don't know. Ask me to drive an aeroplane. I am sure if you are a passenger and they told you that that flight is going to be driven by Honorable Justice Ibrahim Tanko, I am sure I will get out of the plane. Because it is something that requires technicality. And if I have any technicality, my technicality will only be limited to law.
Unbelievable. I'm not going to punish the whole world any further with this. What this man is saying, in essence, is that to fly an aeroplane requires technicality of the law. Not technical knowledge or know-how, but requires technicality of the law. That is what the new Chief Justice of Nigeria is saying. And then the law itself can deal with a technical case. Hey, unbelievable. This is unbelievable. This is unbelievable. I don't want the world to think all Africans are useless. Maybe I need to end this program because what we are witnessing tonight is unprecedented. Unprecedented. Anywhere on this earth. Unprecedented. Flying an aeroplane is about technicality. But technicality in the court of law is technical. I feel sorry for our people. Whoever created this zoo, it won't be well with you. It can never be, I assure you. Now, we proceed. The term legal technicality is, according to some people, is a casual or colloquial phrase referring to a technical aspect of law. In other words, technicality means law, not aeroplane. Some legal technicalities govern legal procedure, enable or restrict access to court, and or enable or limit the discretion of a court in handing down judgment. In common law, technicality is key. As I said before, it is that unseen hand that holds everything together to make sure that everybody follows the proper rules and procedure, because without proper rules and procedure, there will be no rule of law. That's what it means. That is why the zoo, they can wake up and arrest anybody. They can abduct you and put you in jail. Because we black people don't actually know what the law is all about. You see them, oh, bail is free. You see them with the poster, oh, bail is free. But they arrest somebody. You go to bail them, they ask you to pay money. You go to court and ask the court to squash the case that your law says that bail is free. Tell you no, it's technicality. We must hear the case. And you're telling me these are human beings. Oh, of course they are not. The bumbling, ignorant buffoon that you call your Chief Justice said it was the British that introduced technicality. He went on to say this into their laws. Britain introduced technicality into their laws. Jesus Christ of Nazareth. The British introduced technicality. Which backward Sharia court today excavate this relic from? From where did they bring him from? Let's say that he made a mistake about technicality and technical. What has Britain got to do with introducing technicality in their own law? Technicality means that you must adhere to the rules of engagement. Simple. If the law says you must serve the defense team papers 7 days before trial, you do it. Oh dear me. I have played the footage. This very Fulani Chief Justice, this very Sharia Fulani Chief Justice is ignorant of the duties and responsibilities of a shorty because he went in to talk about Aparibe and shorty, my case of course. Because he is ignorant of the constitutional protections for an accused person. He doesn't know constitution because Sharia is about cutting off your hand and your head. They don't know what it's about. Is he guilty? Yes, he's guilty. Let's cut off his head. They don't adjudicate. There is no cross-examination. No time for evidence standing. He doesn't. No, just cut off his head or his hand. That is the idiot they brought to be your Chief Justice. He said, my goodness. Anyway, he's clueless about the powers of the judiciary. And he's the one heading it. And he doesn't know what he's doing.
And the reason why I say that the zoo is in trouble is many, with the installation of this Sharia magistrate who can't even speak simple common English. I'm not talking about the big vocabulary for which some of them are known after drafting a speech for nearly 2 months. I'm talking about simple, rudimentary English, passable English, the one you can converse with. He cannot do it. And he's going to head a judicial system that operates under the English language. That is fire on the mountain. When a defendant fails, this is the zoo, how it works in their own laws, as in my case. Because it kept making reference to, when somebody runs away, they ran away. This running away nonsense was what the Yoruba media concocted, some of them, with the help of Tinubu. You know why they did it? Because they know you are black and you're foolish. If they keep talking about running away, you forget the fact that the army came to my house with 2 attack helicopters, with 2 bombers, jets, with an entire battalion of soldiers to come and kill people. And I said to this, his name is Ibrahim Muhammad Tanko. And I said to him, before I proceed, let me just educate some people who are foolish enough to be regurgitating this nonsense all the time. He said, and if you bail somebody and the person runs away, I may play the clip for you later on. Let me just leave the merits of the attack on my house to one side, because what he seems to be saying is that you can attack anybody and kill them or try to kill them outside the law, and we'll still ask you to bring the person to court. Does that make any sense to the human being? But it's Nigeria, of course. Idiocy is what makes sense. Let me ask Muhammad Tanko and all Muslims in the zoo, including some in Yoruba media that peddle this all the time. Do you know the history or the story of Prophet Muhammad? May peace be upon him. Do you know his history? Do you know that Prophet Muhammad ran away when his life was in danger from Mecca to Medina? Are you aware of that? So, the religion you're following, their prophet ran away. Your prophet ran away from Mecca to Medina. That you're a devout Muslim, so you claim, because you're a Sharia court judge or magistrate. But when they're writing it, I'm actually in a very exalted company. The life of Moses was threatened in the palace of Pharaoh, and he fled Egypt to the land of the Canaanites. Before I will come to tell you what these people accomplished, let me reel out some of them for you. Jesus Christ, the mother took him on a flight to Egypt. George Washington fled from the British. Nelson Mandela before came to Igbo land, if you don't know, to stay before he went back. You know, one funny thing is that all these people I've mentioned, they all returned and claimed victory. And so shall I return, as I keep telling you I will return and I will claim victory. That's how it is. So when you think you are mocking yourselves, remember this very truth, that my path is following the paths of very great people that have gone before me. Now you understand it? So, if I ran away, as you claim I did, without referencing the fact that you sent your soldiers to come and kill me, it is now very clear that it was a Nigerian state in conjunction or in collusion with the judiciary that asked them to kill me. I know. It's now very clear for all to see, isn't it? That is why he said he ran away. But of course, so did your Prophet Muhammad. So where does that place me? So when next somebody out of spite calls me a Lord or their personal savior, you will understand. Because what happened to me was exactly what happened to all those great men. Now you understand it, don't you? Let's continue. When a defendant fails to appear for trial, such as in my case, the court does not automatically or summarily revoke the bail. Never. You will investigate the circumstances, or else, anytime, let's say your brother owns a duplex in Abuja,
and I want to take it, I'm a fallen name, I want to take it. I'll go to Binta Nyako and tell Binta Nyako, please, we are going to arrest that man, please. Once we arrest him, we'll bring him to your court. In your terms, in your bail terms, I want you to say that you need somebody with a duplex in Asokoro to shorty him. Once you have delivered your judgment and his brother has come to take him on bail, we will then go and kill him or scare him away or go and do something very horrendous so that we will disappear him. And then we'll come back to your court and ask you to ask that his brother that took him on bail to either forfeit his house or go to prison. It's very simple. It's neat and very clean. You know how corrupt the zoo is, and they do it every day. Some of you don't know that. That's what this man is trying to say. So you don't investigate. What is the essence of having a law court if not to investigate the circumstances surrounding a case? You don't want to investigate because you don't like IPOB agitation led by my humble self. That is why it's reasonable felony. When there is no part of your law that says I should not agitate. We've been asking them, show us in your law where it says that agitating for Biafra is a crime. They don't have it till today. I'm waiting for Mr. Yeko to reconvene my case. Radio Biafra. Because they are all Sharia people. What do they know about common law? Nothing. Instead of you to hold the army responsible for coming to my house, a whole chief justice is campaigning, telling Abaribe, because Abaribe exposed him, of course, that he's dumb. And ordinarily, bail should not be given, but bail was given. We don't want to take your money or your house, but sometimes we take your money and your house. From a chief justice of a nation. So what you're saying, in essence, is that the army can go and kill whoever they want. DSS can do whatever they like. There is no protection under your law. That's what you're saying. And you're the Chief Justice of a Federation. Unbelievable. Nobody sends any shorty to jail anywhere in the world. It is not done unless you investigate the circumstances first. Ask yourselves, why is it that Binta Nyako doesn't want to investigate the case of the army invasion of my house, as argued by the lawyers of Abaribe? They can't do it because they don't even know how to apply that law. There is a procedure enacted by the laws of the zoo that which the court must follow. There is a rule. Their Akaja, their so-called rule governing the administration of justice, which is the Akaja is the Administration of Criminal and Justice Act, or whatever it's called. Akaja, they call it, which every useless lawyer must know. There is a procedure there in their own laws for forfeiting bail. Before you forfeit bail, the law says, the same senator that Abaribe is sitting in, they made a law that said, before you forfeit bail, there are some things you have to do. The question is, has Binta Nyako's court done that? The answer is no. Because they know the court went down. Binta Nyako knows that once she delves into that very case, our lawyers will call the army to come and testify before an open court. Also, that is why they don't want to bring them. Now you understand what is happening in the zoo and how useless they all are. This very process must be exhausted, phase after phase, stage after stage, because their section 179, subsection 1 of their own law states that, and I quote, when it is proved to the satisfaction of the court by which a recognizance has been taken, or when the recognizance bond is for appearance before a court, and it is proved to the satisfaction of the court that a recognizance has been forfeited, the court shall record the grounds of proof and may call on any person bound by the bond to pay the penalty thereof or to show cause why it should not be paid. After looking at the circumstances, you now reach the decision. But Binta Nyako jumped to this decision without going through her own, the legal process in front of her. And she's a judge from Sharia. The same thing with this Tanko, a judge from Sharia. They don't know common law. They don't understand what common law means. Anybody reading this, even a layman, not listening to me now or later,
can see from the process in their own ACJA that you must first start with a written, not oral order. You must write a written order to show cause, which must be served on the shorties. They have not done it in Abaribe till today. Because they can't. Once you serve that very order, Abaribe's lawyers will now respond, citing Operation Python Dance, the invasion of my house, and calling witnesses. That is what they don't want the world to see. To watch those videos of the invasion of my house and the death of my men. That is why they don't want to call the case. She'll come to court. Hey, you must forfeit or you go to jail. We kept quiet. When the time came, I had to borrow a law. We are Biafrans, we are learned. We gave her the law and said, can you jump this loop? She said no. Instead, she adjoined Sindai. You know how intelligent we are, don't you? Very, very intelligent, I tell you. Office file we're very intelligent. So before reaching the issue of a forfeiture, the court must first dispose of the issue of the military operation and its legal impacts on all affected parties in the order. They don't want to discuss it. He ran away. If you tell somebody, and some corrupt Yoruba, Islamic, jihadi press will be right every blessed day. So in your stupidity, you forget that Prophet Muhammad ran away from Mecca to Medina. So Prophet Muhammad is a coward. Is it? Is Prophet Muhammad a coward? Is Moses of all people a coward? Is Jesus Christ a coward? If they are, then Nnamdi Kanu is. Now you understand where we're heading, isn't it? The defendant in the case is my humble self. I'm talking about this because he alluded to it. The time now is approximately 13 minutes past the top of the hour wherever you are. 13 minutes past the hour. It's a live program we're presenting to you. My humble self, my duty is to appear in court, yes. It is also my duty then to stay in my house and be killed. Is that my duty as well? By a gang of illiterate Fulani soldiers that have declared me a terrorist, but Fulani headsmen and bandits are being negotiated with. I don't blame them. I blame Nyawodo. I blame your so-called Southeast governors, Dave Mahi, Obiano, Ugwani, Ibaso. These are the culprits. These are the people that asked the Fulanis to come and kill me, to kill IPOB. These are the culprits. I see some people inviting them, come to a New Year festival. Some idiots in Spain will get people and will deal with you very decisively. I'm telling you that, honestly. These are the men that planned for my execution. Nyawodo wanted me dead. Ubahe the same. They called Fulanis to kill me. Today, the Fulanis are killing people. Instead of chastising them in public, Arewa Consultative Forum, Northern Elders are encouraging them, stay where you are and kill as many people as possible. And these are the people that some of you idiots call your leaders. Nyawodo and the Igbo governors. It can never be well with them, I assure you. It was the military that forced the situation on us. And on the court, in other words, the court must consider whether it is right for the Nigerian government to send the army to my house to kill me and my parents and my people for an offense before a court, not determined yet. They did not want me to go to Ogoni. Ogoni elders invited me, they didn't want me to go to Ogoni. That's number one. Number two, they didn't want me to take my men to Abuja because I told them I'm coming there with 2 million men. They came to kill me. And some of you are clapping for them because they brought death to my house. One day death shall befall the zoo, and it's coming here anyway. And you see how sweet it is. People raid your villages and you're complaining. Only 2 or 3 headsmen come to your village and you're screaming. A battalion came to my house with the support of Nigerian Air Force to bomb my village.
to the kingdom come. And you're chatting rubbish and talking nonsense. Only a few headsmen came to your village, and you're crying. An army came, an entire division came to my house. Now you understand that we are stronger than you. Before the court turns its attention on the shorties, they must first of all reckon with the fact that they sent the army to come and kill me. That is what Tanko is not factoring in, because the army coming to kill me is a technicality which, according to their Supreme Court, should be ignored. If I'm not safe in my house, who is going to guarantee my safety on my road to Abuja? Who will give me the escort I need? The same army? The same police? Do you see how foolish black people are, especially Nigerians? You see how hopeless they are. You see how I've run out of adjectives to qualify them. So you see why you're never equal to a white man. Because even at the height of their wickedness, a white man cannot be this cruel. The reason why God abandoned black people, Africans especially, is because of our wickedness. And as my wife will say, once you're wicked, you combine that with ignorance, then there is trouble. That's what's happening in Africa, especially in the zoo called Nigeria. And only Biafra can change that, of course. We must continue. There are a plethora of test cases. I'm not going to go into that because they don't understand. They don't understand even their own laws. Because it is very, very sad that people exist without reading. They don't read, they don't study, they know nothing. There are processes written in their own laws that says you just don't jail a shorty. It is written down in black and white. You must go through the process and ask yourself, why did this person not appear in court? You must solve that problem first. So if they had succeeded in killing me, what will happen? They will say I'm a terrorist, and some of you will buy it. Because you're black, you have no conscience. You are born wicked, and that is why you are in a hopeless, poverty-stricken situation in Africa, and being chased about in America like wild beasts because of your wickedness inside you. But I thank Chukwukikabiam Elohim, the Lord of hosts, for IPOB. Because in the next 100 to 200 years, people will remember IPOB and say, indeed, they are the light of the world. We represent something unique, something exceptional. That some of you in time to come, your children, your great-grandchildren will be asked, were your parents part of IPOB? If the answer is no, they will know that you are descended from a family of cowards. Go and mark my words. We must proceed. No law in Nigeria gives any judge the power to jail any shorty. None, no law, no power whatsoever. Unless the facts of the matter are established. It is in your akja. Even somebody who has been confirmed, the Chief Justice of a country does not know simple law that governs their, their legal proceedings. Very, very sad indeed. So you can see that the court has discretion. You know that thing they call discretion? They said, I have the discretion. And when you say to a black person, I have the discretion, they think you have given them the power of God to create and to destroy. Your discretion only goes as far as the law permits you to. If the apex law in Nigeria, the Constitution says, when you arrest somebody like they have done to Justice Ude, they have kept him for over 3 months. The law says he must be released, must. It's in the Constitution. And you as a judge is going against the Constitution. No wonder you have banditry and anarchy everywhere. Because nobody obeys the law. Even the judges don't obey the law. The police don't know the law, they're ignorant. DSS is a bunch of kidnappers from Nasarawa, or heaven knows, from Taraba, somewhere. They recruit them into the service just to do the bidding of Islamic Sharia Nigeria. That's all. They have no soul
and they have no conscience. And that is why we state unequivocally that the zoo must fall. Because anybody that talks about bail, abaribe, forfeiture, his shorties, ask the idiot to go and read Akaja. It's their law. It's written there. Before you sanction a shorty, you must find out. You must serve papers on him or her to find out why the person they stood shorty for did not appear. They don't want to do it because they know the whole world will be watching. Any day they do it, Abaribe's lawyers will come to court and argue quite convincingly that the army came. We have the videos. Everybody knows that. But they pretend they don't know. That the ones now asking me to come back to fight. The day I come back now to fight, they start crying. He has come with war and trouble. But I'm coming. Of course, who doesn't know I'm coming? Are you that dumb that you don't know I'm coming? Of course I'm coming. And the zoo will fall. It will burn and it will fall. As simple as that. Everything I say comes to pass. Ask even Britain. Let's leave this. Ask Britain what I said about Britain. I told Britain, Islam will take you over. They will crush you. That very United Kingdom will be torn to shreds. Scotland will go. Wales will go. Northern Ireland will go. It will only England. And Islam will control it. Watch and see. They write it down today. Today's date. Write it down. And it shall come to pass. As our brother quite frankly said, when I told you that Fulani will come to kill you, did you believe me? Everything I say, I said everything. Everything I tell you comes to pass. Every single thing, it must happen. I know from out of jealousy. It can't solve it. Because I didn't come out on my own. Elohim sent me. And I must do the work of heaven. That's what I'm doing here. That is my job. If you like, you listen. Today, you're not carrying placard all over the place. Chasing, of course, we know we are the ones doing it. Chasing them all over our place. Fulani headsmen, terrorists to go back from where they come from. Killers. But I told you I called their names. I told you Fulani is coming. They will come. They will kill you. I told you specifically that they will rape your mothers and rape you. I told you what will happen. How many years ago did I say it? Did it not happen exactly to the letter? Why would you doubt anything that I tell you then? Why? Why? Now you understand why Umahi and Ibazo wanted me dead. And Obiano. So they can serve their Fulani masters. Are people not dying in Enugu? Are people not being killed in Enugu? The same thing that I told you. And you said no. Go and kill Nnamdi Kanu. It's not happening now in Enugu state. The zoo court has collapsed. Their judicial system is now in the hands of illiterate Sharia proponents. Those are living in the Sharia system. Abaribe dug a small hole for the weasel and he simply crawled in, as foolish as he is. Ibrahim Muhammad Tanko, as foolish as he is, he crawled into the hole and made the zoo judicial system a laughingstock. They want to disregard what is called precedent, but that's entirely up to them. The British did not introduce technicalities. Technicality is very simple. The law says that in America there are rules and laws governing how you handle evidence and how you store it. The same thing happened in the case of O.J. Simpson, if you know. Technicality, how they handled that very glove, the entire case hinged on that glove only. Once it was proven that his hand cannot fit, they acquitted him. Because how are you sure that the glove doesn't belong to somebody else? But in the zoo, they say, oh, he did it, we must kill him. That is technicality. It is law. Technicality is part and parcel of the law. Or the administration of the law. He said he's driving an aeroplane. Technicality. The chief judge. You know what is called a in the village? Caterpillar. Or caterpillar or not soap. And he's chief judge of Nigeria. That small bag he carries like a native doctor. I don't know what do they put inside that bag that they're carrying? Chief
justice of Nigeria my food. Tomorrow, son, where is that? Where is that idiot? Where is that fool that says presidential advisor on corruption? Where is some of that idiot? Forget his name. Senior advocate, my foot. They forge certificate for Buhari. They go to court. They dispute the case. The simple case of Buhari. Not Buhari. The dead Buhari now Jubril. Where is your certificate that you're running with? They say a case is dismissed on technicality. And then when that technicality is used on other people to set them free, you say no. When it suits you, you invoke technicality. That is why he said some people can interpret it one way or the other way. No. Supreme Court is there to give a definitive ruling. And where there is conflict, this is one thing about the Zoo Senate, why I said they are useless. You see that they are hopeless. Your so-called senators, they are dumb and foolish. And I'll tell you why. The discrepancy that Abaribe have noticed in any civilized part of the world, it is the duty of the Senate to legislate, to harmonize. It's called harmonization. The Senate will legislate to harmonize the law, to clarify it, what it means. But anybody can come, depending on who is threatening their life or how much they have received, to rule one way or the other. And you're saying, I'm a Nigerian, let's be proud of Nigeria. You're an animal. One Nigerian man. You are sick. Your brain is not correct. You are sick in the head for saying Nigeria is salvageable. Which useless Nigeria is salvageable? Did you create Nigeria? Oh, a white man, come on. Go to white man's land and create a country now. But as a black man, your brain can never go there. That is why I tell you that whites are superior to you. And they will continue to be until Biafra comes. That is why some of them don't want Biafra anyway. Very, very embarrassing. Very, very embarrassing. We must bring the program to an end this very evening because we are not even sure that the zoo will understand what we are saying because they are foolish. You see, the oil and gas that comes from my land has blinded them. They are blind. And as I say every time on Radio Biafra and in my private meetings with some of them, we will give you oil and gas for free under United Nations supervision of 5 permanent UN members, including Israel. We will pipe oil and gas to every part of Nigeria. They can dig a well and fall into it full of oil. That's their business. We don't need oil and gas. We just want our freedom. The oil and gas is useless and meaningless. It pollutes the environment. We don't need it. We will give it to everybody for free. Pipe, I said pipe. We will bury pipe, more bigger, larger ones, to carry more quantities of crude and gas to the north and to the Yoruba land for free under internationally supervised arrangement in perpetuity. Take the damn oil and the stupid gas and give me my freedom. That's what I'm asking for. Simple as that. We must proceed. We must proceed. And as we bring this program to an end, there is banditry everywhere. Banditry in the bushes, banditry on the roads, the checkpoints and the police checkpoints, banditry inside Asorok, led by the de facto President Abakari, and now the highest form of judicial banditry. And the chief bandit, not the chief judge, the chief bandit is this Ibrahim Muhammad Tanko, or Tanko Ibrahim Muhammad. He doesn't even know his own name. He is the chief bandit of all bandits in the zoo because he has come in and planted the Sharia law or Sharia jurisprudence over a common law system. It's called superimposition. Some of you did not know that when Abdul Salami Abubakar and the Fulanis were drawing up the 1999 constitution, this was all they had in mind. You didn't know that. But when they said the appeal court will have a Sharia judge and a customary law judge, tell me how many customary court judges are sitting at the appellate court appeal court? And how many are Sharia? That tells you all you need to know. None from common law. So none from customary law, which is the one that affects the South. Them in the North is Sharia. But when you say it, oh no, leave it. After all, there is also customary law there. But they will never appoint you. But they appoint their own kind. That is how Onogen is gone. All of you are silent and you're quiet. The same way they treat the Hausa people, telling them they're fighting corruption. Some of you fell for that nonsensical joke. Today you have a primitive, a Fulani native doctor as your chief justice. He is actually chief bandit. They've taken over everywhere. Bring a case against Fulani headsmen to court and see if anybody will listen. Go to the police station and see. So when they were making themselves commissioners of police, you didn't know it's to protect their interest. When they were building barracks all over the place, staffed by Fulani reprobates, you never knew that they were preparing a fertile ground for Fulani domination. But they'll go and tell you, Igbos are domineering you, but they are the ones, they don't only dominate you, they kill you in the process. And you're clapping for them. Because of the crumbs falling off the master's table, we have decided, those of us who are in agreement, that there will be a revolution, a massive one, and every ethnic nationality caged in the zoo. Because Nigeria is an experiment that went crazy. Instead of producing human beings, they produce a series of animals who they claim they went to Oxford, to Cambridge, to Stanford, to Yale, and to Harvard. Simple law, you don't know. You went to Harvard. A simple, ordinary law of evidence, you don't know, and you're the chief judge. You're the justice. I am praying for Biafra restoration and nothing more. And I will come with definitive statements on Ruga. But for now, we shall continue to drive them away from our land. Wherever we see them clustered, we will drive them away. We'll disperse them and we'll drive them away. It won't stop. Nobody will stop it. Because as I keep saying on Radio Biafra and always, they will kill us, we will kill them. In the end, we shall always win. Be rest assured, nothing can stop us from winning. We've won already anyway. And that is why on this very platform we proclaim unequivocally, without fear nor favor, that Biafra is our religion. Chukwokika Biama is Elohim Almighty, that we serve no other. And here on this hallowed platform, Radio Biafra, is where we congregate. May the peace of the Most High Elohim be upon all of you. May those of us who are still incarcerated know that freedom is very, very close. May we remain resolute, determined, unwavering before our enemies. For Biafra will come, and we shall give praise to the Most High for what he has done in our lives. For this very name, IPOB shall be remembered forever and ever. We do not seek immortality of the flesh, but we know we shall never, ever be forgotten. As long as there is a Biafran child anywhere on this very earth until the end of time, this very generation, this very IPOB, this very Biafra shall never be forgotten. From me, from here, good evening. in your ignorance, you will never know. Anything we ask you to do, you must do it. Anything I ask you to do, you have to. Because it takes us closer to Biafra. And there is something called enabling environment or conducive environment. IPOB cannot function anywhere there is total and absolute hostility in Biafra. It is impossible. They will kill everybody. And what will you do? Nothing. You come and write, oh, RIP, oh, rest in peace. God knows best. And you move on to the next useless, hopeless topic. Everything I tell you, every decision we come to has been painstakingly researched, considered, contemplated, evaluated. We've done everything humanly possible to make sure we arrive at the best decision that will move this very effort forward. And what is that decision? That this very day, anybody stepping out of the house this morning, right across Biafraland, you must understand that any vote for APC is a vote for slavery. It's a vote for a return to Egypt. Our land is ours. I said this a few days ago again, but most of you were not listening. You don't listen because you have your tiny prejudice inside you. Unless I say something that concerns what you have in your brain, the rest don't register. Let me explain it to you again, and very slowly. IPOB has been instrumental by virtue of our agitation to bring or to help facilitate various delegations from the UN, from the US, from the EU, and from Britain to come to Biafraland. Some of you were aware of this before I was released, that the immediate past British High Commissioner traveled the whole of Biafraland, went to the palace of Obi of Onitsha, and went to go and see our dear revered father, Achusie of blessed memory, touring Biafraland, trying to gather support to see if I am killed in custody, what will be the consequences. Listen carefully this morning, because some of you don't listen to what we say here on this platform. They traveled all over the place. I know what Obi of Onitsha told them, and I also know what Achusie told them. The people that they interviewed, the information or the advice they gave to the British High Commissioner is the reason why I was allowed to leave Kuche alive. Understand this very clearly. Had they said, or had the majority of them said, oh, please go, nothing will happen, just kill him, nothing will happen, what do you think? They will just quietly shoot me dead or poison me. And what will he say? He will say, oh, our leader is dead, rest in peace. Oh, the children, we feel sorry for them. Oh, and the wife, and that will be the end of it. That will be the end of IPOB and Biafra agitation. Because next time when you want to go and lead, your mom or your dad will say, or your husband or your wife will say, oh, you want to be like the dead Nnamdi Kanu, see he's dead. You want to go again. I know our people, that's how we reason. Are you going to deny it? But I would say thankfully, but Asuko Kikabema will have it. The British High Commissioner came away from his tour of Biafraland with the impression that should they touch me, that the land will burn. That was exactly what happened. That was why I was allowed to come out. Or you want me to come all the time on air to spell everything out? Simple, obey command and move on. No, you won't. You will write. You must write something to notice me, so people will notice you that you're there. Instead of attracting idiots with their fake Facebook accounts talking rubbish as always, or Yoruba and Alamajiri on Facebook answering useless Igbo names, writing nonsense, and you think you've arrived. IPOB is about discipline, dedication, focus, and indefatigability. Understand these words very carefully. We never retreat nor surrender. Every step we make is designed to bring Biafra closer. And that step today is to make sure that APC is obliterated from the face of the earth. Let me tell you what we have managed to accomplish. For some of you who may not know, do you know that INEC in the zoo doesn't have all the papers that have been requested of them to tender or to make available to Atiku's lawyers? Do you know that? And do you know what that means? You see this Jubril that you see in Asrock today, Jubril, he can never stay there. Zoo is heading towards the Venezuela scenario. That is what we're heading to. So you don't know that? So no matter what happens, the zoo must collapse. One single day, people will realize that the decision to lift the boycott inexplicably contributes to the collapse of the zoo. They don't have it in the court. INEC is saying they want to ask Jubril. Their name is Independent National Electoral Commission. If your understanding of English language is so limited, it won't be to the extent of not appreciating or understanding what independence means, or independent in this context. They are independent. They conducted elections. They make rules and they make their own laws. Now the time has come for them to tender the materials, and they're saying they cannot do it without going to Jubril that they rigged for. And you're telling me that the zoo can survive it? Of course not. You know they can't survive it. But because there is no instant result now, today, immediately, here, now, this second, it's not going to work. It's called trader mentality. Buying and selling mentality, which unfortunately we now possess in abundance. So have faith and believe in what we are doing, and you will see that Biafra will be restored. All your murmuring can only delay us, as it delayed Israelites from entering the promised land. You read your Bible, but you don't learn from it. You study, but you don't learn anything from history. I'll remind you once again, the difference between Southern Sudan and Biafra is that they fought for 30 years and we only fought for 3 years and we capitulated. Today, Sudan is free. Today, they're still killing us in Biafraland. And whose fault is it? It is the fault of you and I. The fault of those that call themselves Niger Delta or South-South, that remove themselves from the Igbo. Those that say we are Nyomia, we are not Igbo. Those that say, no, leave them, we are not together. Whereas Okonko fraternity, Epe fraternity, everything we borrowed from Efik and from Ibibio people. There's somebody, an Efik man and Ibibio man, is saying they are South-South, that they are more related to an Ido man than an Igbo man. You see how useless people are? This is how stupid people are. Today, on this very Saturday, the 9th of March, 2019, we are all united as one family to make sure that Fulani doesn't come into our land. If you don't understand the meaning of it, go and see how Hausa people... When I give you history, write it down and research it. Some of you are hopeless. You don't know anything. You are asking me, Nnamdi Kanu, to make the same mistake that Hausa kings made. Fulani came in. We are pursuing corruption. We are chasing corruption. Today, there is nothing like Hausa people anymore. It's only Hausa language. Hausa doesn't exist anymore. They are gone forever and ever. The same nonsense you want me to allow APC to come into our land was the same rubbish that Afon Jadid in Kwara. Today they have lost Kwara. Yoruba can never ever recover Kwara State forever and ever. And you want the same nonsense to happen under my watch. You must be insane. You must be mad. Very, very mad. If you want to know what Biafraland will look like, please go to Logba. Go to Logba and see and have a look. Before you come on Facebook to write rubbish, before you go out to go and vote APC or even contemplate it, go to Logba and see what is happening there. Because it will affect you. Because our own selfishness and individualism have now been taken to very destructive levels, and I won't allow that to continue. It cannot continue. This is Radio Biafra. Time now is nearly 8:45 a.m. here in England. Wherever you are, I believe it is the same number of minutes, 1:45 the top of the hour, wherever you are. This is a live presentation. This is Radio Biafra. Our people are out in force, not to vote, but to make sure that Okezibasu doesn't stay in office. To make sure that Dave Umahi is removed. So that they will know how powerful IPOB is. So that they will know that if you go against the people will go against you. If we fail to send that very clear message, every idiot will come out and point their finger at IPOB. And when we do, or become radical, or become radicalized as a result, all of you now will be let me even ask you, when peaceful IPOB was designated a terrorist group, how many of you protested? How many of you said no? But you have seen the North. Has any governor in the North, any Fulani governor ever come out to say that Mieti Yala is a terrorist group? They are the ones killing and sacking. They are the ones decimating communities. But because you are black, you have no conscience. It goes through one ear and goes out the other. You don't digest the information. Ask yourselves why. Syria is in the news. Every other place is in the news. Palestinians in the news. Everybody is in the news. Consider the number of Biafrans being killed on hourly basis and that of Palestinians. Then you tell me whose news is meant to be making it all over the world. But you're not being talked about. And you don't want to know why nobody's talking about you. You don't want to know what, you don't even want to know the efforts that IPOB is making to ensure that the world talks about Biafra. You have no idea. All you do is wake up in the morning, you take your Technophone or Infinix and you put maybe data of 250 naira. You start to write nonsense on social media without asking questions. Biafra is going to be run by what the majority determines, not minority. It doesn't matter what you think. It is what the majority thinks that matters always. It's only in Black Africa that one idiot with a warped opinion about something will think that he or she is right. Once you test that very view they hold, you see that it holds no water after all. This very morning, regardless of what you see, hunger is a very bad thing. Regardless of how hungry you are, regardless of what the workers of iniquity might compel you to do, understand that if you collect money to go and vote for APC, to vote for AA, any of these Hausa Fulani sponsored people, you collect money to go and vote for PDP in Abia State, or you want to go, of course, remember that today is is it called supplementary election for Abaribe? Abaribe must be returned. You all know that very well. All those places they have rescheduled for elections to hold today regarding the fate of Abaribe. You must go there and vote for Abaribe. Understand that very well. When they give you the ballot paper containing Senate, you know to vote for Abaribe, who's in PDP. But when they give you the governorship form to vote for Okezi Bazu, do not vote for Okezi Bazu. Do not. If you do, we are finished. Do not vote for Uche Oga. If you vote for Uche, you think that Okurawosa is from Biafraland. This one is from I'm going to na Gotanani Hulo Emir. He was born in the sewage in front of Emir's house in Kanu. We are gone. Uche Oga, no. Ibazu, no. Why? Because they killed us. When I go to meetings, what they ask is, always, but you have Biafrans who are in political office. Why are they not raising these issues? Why is it that all the people that you have that are very close to the corridors of power, they don't raise the issue of Biafra? In the meeting, full of diplomats, full of consultants, full of lobbyists, you then start telling them, but Awasa came and imposed them. Then they ask you, but where were you when they were imposing them on you? What did you do? You say, oh, nothing. I did nothing. They just imposed him. They will tell you, okay, this is my business card. Send me all the information you have with you, and I'll get back to you. They now know you're not serious. Do you know why IPOB, or how IPOB became the most formidable freedom fighting outfit in the world? Not by folding our hands. We took the battle to the enemy. Not with machete, not with knives, not with bow and arrow, not with bullets, not with guns, but with our never say die spirit. We sustained the pressure on the zoo until IPOB became a phenomenon. That is something you must know. Not through wishful thinking. And I have said it before and I will say it again. What stops, I even think that should we decide to march tomorrow? Some of you will say, oh, he has been paid to bring war to us, so who we don't know, who maybe is, yes, I think I was accused in 2013 that foreign governments were paying me to destabilize Nigeria. So it didn't start today. It started from way before. It shows how poor you are. Everything about your thinking is money. Because you're looking for money to buy kerosene, to put in your stove. You're looking for money to go and buy fuel to put in your generator. You're looking for money to eat because you're so poor. Every decision in this world is governed by money. Everything you think about is about money, and that money you don't even have it. Do we have money? You see ordinary alamajiri, beggars on the streets of the north. Do they talk about money the way you people talk about money, like a bunch of demented fools? Because they have billionaires. Do you see Yoruba do the same? Because they have billionaires. They say empty barrel make the most noise. You that have nothing in your pocket. You're the ones obsessing about money every step of the way. Yes, you don't even have it. Go out and make sure that Okezibazu is not there. If you are possessed by the devil or evil spirit, to even consider supporting the rigging effort of Okezibazu, also know that whatever befalls you tomorrow, you will bear the consequences. You will bear the consequences yourself. The same nonsense happening now has happened before. And I want people to listen carefully when I say these things. The same rubbish happening today has happened before. Do you know that Kaduna Airport, that is today an international airport, was meant to be built in Biafraland? Do you know who sold it to Awasa people? Go and do your research. You people did not start selling your interest from today. But when K.O. Mbadiwe was selling our airport